I am so excited today because in our group, Public Speak and Prosper, we are featuring Val Mulan. And I am excited because you have a specialty that is just near and dear to my heart. But Val, you're all the way from Southern California, and I have to just be a little bit jealous because we're probably about 40 degrees difference in temperature.
It
So,
was cold here.
yeah. So usually I ask this question at the end, but I wanted to ask this at the very front. And maybe this will open the door to let people know what you're working on. But one of my favorite questions to ask is, what are you working on currently that you're really excited about?
Oh, I love that question. I am working on increasing the number of people that I serve on a daily basis as a life mastery and women empowerment coach. I say women empowerment coach, I do serve men as well, but my passion is definitely helping women since that's the gender I'm closest to naturally, and really getting to serve more people. It's my passion to try and help make our communities and this society better than I left it. And if I can empower people with the tools that empowered me, then my purpose will be complete.
That's awesome. So one of the things that prompted me to contact you and to see if you wanted to share with our community was this poll that you're doing about genius. So why don't you tell people about what it is that you offer, and maybe at the very start, instead of putting it at the end, let's put your offer right up front of what you offer for people.
Yes. So I help people become their best version so that they can claim and build a life they love. And that stems from my own life story. Ever since I was a little girl, I've had always had big dreams. Yet I was born in a family where I was not equipped with very many life skills. And at least that's how it felt to me. And I just grew up with this constant search of becoming a better version of me. And I had no idea where to look for those tools, those life skills. I did develop some along the way, but I still felt like I was missing a lot of them. And as they don't teach us many of them, if any, in school. And I made it my mission to just evolve. I believe that we're on this planet to evolve until our very last breath and understand ourselves better, become the best version of ourselves, not just for us, but also for the greater good of humanity. And so on my quest, I encountered numerous challenges. It went from domestic violence to chronic illness to divorce to cancer. And every challenge made me a better human being. The first couple of challenges, I did not see them as silver lining, but through experience and through personal development, the latest ones like divorce and cancer, they brought many blessings. And that's because I was finally able to see who we're meant to be as human beings, having this experience on planet Earth and the tools that I finally found to help me not see those challenges happening to me, but instead happening for me, and seeing the beauty and the universal laws at work within those challenges and being able to witness that and live that. I found it so, so profound and so special that now I just can't help but share it with everyone else because I don't think there's anyone on planet Earth that doesn't go through challenges at some point or the other. And also truly believe that we all have desires in our heart that are unexpressed and unachieved. And it's sad if we can develop the courage and the tools to bring out what's in our heart, then that's what we call that genius part of us, right? We could also say the genius and the purpose are intertwined in some ways, then this world would be such a better place if more and more people could be there in that place in their heart and create it. And I truly believe that is our primary goal on this planet is to see what's in the heart and say yes to it and courageously build it.
That's wonderful. I saw a meme not too long ago. It had a meme of a mouse that had caught the spring. Have you seen this one? Where he caught the thing right before it hit his head, and he was pushing up, and it says, "What doesn't kill you will make you stronger." And so that's so powerful. And I've seen this statistic a lot, is that 98% of 2-year-olds operate on a genius level.
Mm.
And so one of the things that I looked at, you sent like a survey to understand how you can help people. And you ask these questions that are great questions. And one of the reasons why I thought it really meant a lot to me, and I know you work with women as far as an empowerment coach, but also there's a lot of men that I think can use the same help, because just 5 years ago, I was living in an abandoned church and was searching really for my life's purpose.
Mm.
And I just come out of living in a men's monastery for 2 years. And with all the prayers and the quietness and everything, it was a wonderful time of reflection and getting a sense of who I was and where I come from. But as far as where I was going, I had no idea. And so the vision of my life was something that while I was in that abandoned church, something happened. And I was actually trying to complete my book, my memoir. And so there was something that came up, and I've written about this in the last, I think it's 4 books that have all become #1 bestsellers. And it speaks of the acronym of VOICE, which is VOICE. And the first part of your voice is vision. And the vision is something that embodies your originality, your inspiration, your creativity, that actually is you. But you don't have any of that until you develop a vision of, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And so when I was going through those questions, it prompted me to think back to that time where all I wanted to do is finish this book, but I wanted to help people, and I wanted to be able to travel, and I wanted to be able to have a companion that I could do these wonderful things with and share a life with, but also who was vitally involved with it. So now we've actually gone and spoke to entire university auditoriums packed full of college students and helping them to actually overcome spiritual blindness. And I don't think everybody knows, but my wife has been blind since birth. And so meeting her just about 4.5 years ago was just a game changer for me. But let's talk about that as far as the survey that you have and how you walk people through a developing vision, because I think that's a great conversation we can have.
Yes, for sure. So I specialize in helping people claiming and building a life they love. And in order to build a life you love, you have to know what it is that you love. And so the vision is the foundational work that we do. And it's simply giving permission to people to ask themselves the question, what would I love? Something we probably haven't asked ourselves in decades for many of us. And sadly, a lot of times you'd be surprised to hear when you ask that question to people, they don't know. They know what they don't want anymore, or they know what they don't want. But when it comes to actually claiming what they would love, what they want, there's a lot of uncertainty. Some people know very clearly what they want, and those are far and few in between, but they still need the tools to get to where they want to go. But the purpose of the vision is just like a destination you enter on your GPS. The only way you can go to a destination is to know the address and put it into your GPS. So the vision is the same thing. It's the destination of your life. That's going to help you program your internal GPS to get to that vision. So without vision work, you cannot create a life by design. You're more than likely create a life more by default. And so that's the first tool that I provide people with, is learning how to reconnect or create a vision that we would absolutely love. The best tool to create that vision is to ask ourselves questions. And so when you ask the question, what would you love? And you don't know, there are a series of other questions that will help you lead you to that vision. And it's not something you want to do just once. It's something you want to do regularly. Vision work is like a muscle, building muscles. It's something that you want to practice every week, sometimes every day, if not every day, so that you can really create aligning with the universal laws so that you can acquire the tools to build that vision and also create synchronicity. So now I'm going a little too fast here in the process, but basically the vision is the foundational work in manifesting a life we love.
So life has an ability to sometimes throw obstacles at us. And like the 2-year-olds that operate at a 98% genius level, and then as life goes on and things are thrown at us and we have to overcome these things and we're in the thick of it. And there's a thing that you have to uncover, that you have to be able to pull out. And that's where coaching helps you to help them. So how do you go about doing that? Is it just question and answer like a counselor, or is it there some promptings? Is there, because vision
So,
is a pretty powerful thing.
so let's say we have worked on the vision, or we do continuous work on creating the vision. Then we're going to use it as the foundation, right? The destination to create our dream life. And I use what we call evocative coaching, meaning that, yes, I work with questions. I am not the one who's going to give you your answers because you already have all the answers inside of you. They're probably buried underneath trauma, limiting beliefs, fear, old programming. And by means of asking questions and challenging the current circumstances and conditions that are not aligned with the vision, typically they are not, then that's how we start peeling the layers of the trauma, of the fears, of the limiting beliefs, and also equipping people with courage, right? Courage is the magical wand or the magic tool that helps people, because the GPS is going to take you to your destination, but the GPS of life is going to be full of potholes on the road, hurdles, a fallen tree. There are going to be, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. There are going to be obstacles. And so the courage tool, which comes with unique to people depending on what it is that they're trying to build in their life. But there's many aspects of helping people build courage so that when there are obstacles and they're being pulled by the vision, they don't stop. They stand their ground. They stay the course.
So do you work with people individually, or do you do like a group setting? Or because I know that you and I met each other in a mastermind group, which has been a very powerful group. So there's advantages to both, but what do you see that works best? And I'd really like for you to share, maybe not names or specifics, but maybe a general, somebody that you worked with that had like a breakthrough. That's an example of something that they were going through, and then how you led them through into this new kind of life that they're living now.
Yes, of course. I agree with you. There's power in the group, and coaching one on one is also extremely important. So I do both. I think they are fully intertwined and you need both. We're multidimensional beings, we're social creatures. And being in a group helps you a lot of times when you hear someone else ask a question to the coach and being coached on a call. A lot of times it could either be a question you didn't know you needed to ask because the answer you hear the person receiving, it can create a aha moment for you. Or it could be the same question that you had, but when you hear it formulated by somebody else, it hits different. So there is a lot of power in the group, plus the fusion of the energies of all the individuals in the group. There's something magical about that. And then the one-on-ones are just as important because we are still unique at the end of the day. And we do need that one-on-one touch point to break through unique barriers of ours, or on life story, or just that extra little touch or big touch of being on one. So to give you an example of one of my clients earlier this year, she was a very successful manager in the tourism industry. She loves traveling the world. She's a big fanatic of adventure, but she was completely burnt out being in the tourism industry. And she knew there was a longing in her heart, but she wasn't sure what it was. So I guided her through my vision process, and she discovered that she actually really wanted to become an actress. But it puzzled her because she's one of the most shy people you could ever meet, very shy. But when she kept checking the vision and asking her, speaking to her, it just kept coming back to I would love, love, love to be an actress. And so I equipped her with the courage tools, with the vision work, and with other manifestation tools. And that led her to leave that tourism job, travel to Australia, meet a lot of people. At first, she thought, because she's in Europe, so I thought at first she thought, I need to go to Paris. I was just observing.
How you were talking about your client and how she really wanted to become an actress. So let's get back into that.
Yes. And so the logical mind came into play and said, let's go to Paris there as a first step toward the dream. And I knew that wasn't the right step for her. I'm also an intuitive and a channel. I knew, but I couldn't tell her that. I needed to guide her to realize that is not the first step. There's a much greater, better step for you coming. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not Paris. And so I guided her through it. And she, because of the layers of fears she needed to get rid of, first, she still tried to go to Paris, but she kept encountering closed door after closed door. Eventually, a door opened in Australia, almost out of nowhere. When you do vision work, when you really fully align with the energies of what's in your heart, there are synchronicities that happen where you think things should happen a certain way, but the universe, God, has a greater solution for you, or next best step for you. And so for her, it appeared in the form of an opportunity in Australia. And I guided her to say, does this align with your vision? And she said yes. And she, within a few, 2 or 3 weeks, she was in Australia and filming a short movie and meeting a lot of great people in the movie industry. It just happened very fast. It just shows that when we listen to the things in our heart and we apply the tools that I teach, then things can manifest very fast. The thing is that you have to have a very open mind and not always resort to the logical mind. In fact, a lot of times you don't want to resort to the logical mind because there are far greater things waiting for us that work with the universal laws. And when you are brave enough to trust those energies and those laws, that's when the magic happens. And so now she's pursuing her career in the movie industry, and she had left the tourism industry. And it just goes to show that no dream is too big, right? There's no dream is too big, and we're all deserving of what's in our heart. I think we've been programmed from a very young age to what limitations we were supposed to follow, right, in our society, where maybe until the age of 6 or 7, we're asked what you want to be when you grow up, and we think it's cute. But then when you're at about 8, 10, 12 years old, we start hearing, yeah, those dreams are cute, but no, here are the facts. You have to go to school and go to college and then get a job. And there, in most families, I know that was somewhat like that in my family and in many other cultures and family, it's definitely like that. So now you end up with a society with many people who are working jobs that they don't love, living a life that they don't love. That certainly was my case when I hit age 42, 11 years ago. And my life looked picture perfect. You would think that I was the happiest woman. I had built the American dream, big house, the career, the beautiful family. And what nobody knew is that American dream felt like a nightmare to me. I felt my soul die a little bit more every day. I was extremely unhealthy. I would hide in the closet eating dark chocolate cake to just numb the pain and add a little sweetness to what felt like such um I felt like I had missed the mark. I had built somebody's life, but it was not meant to be my life. And the ache I felt in my heart every day was so heavy. I felt like I was carrying such a heavy burden on my shoulders every day. And that prevented me from being the mom, the role model mom I wanted to be. That took a toll on my relationship with now my ex-husband. And also I lacked creativity. I couldn't see the way out of that life. I felt like I was trapped.
Mhm.
And it's not until I give myself permission to say, hey, maybe the life that I actually am dreaming of or I have dreamed of, maybe I still deserve it. So giving yourself permission to challenge the status quo, to challenge the dream life that we build is also another tool to start aligning with that vision or creating the vision.
You prompted some things that really have been big game changers in my life. And one is being able to tap into that OIC in the voice, which is your originality, your inspiration, your creativity. And you're talking about being guided or going down the path in a way that doesn't necessarily do it the way the world does it. And you don't do it as far as logically planning it out. I remember I was trying to figure out with my book, which was really stories, there's probably 60 stories in it. And my publisher was telling me that memoirs don't sell, they don't become bestsellers. And I had paid them to guarantee that I would be a best-selling author. And it was like a major five-figure amount. And they also said that my book was a 9-lane freeway. And all I had were these stories where I helped business owners with these creative ideas that I would sit down with them and I would ask them a few questions. Then all of a sudden, there would be this idea that just came out of nowhere that was like this big, huge answer. And usually it didn't come from like logically trying to figure it out.
Right.
And the best example is that one morning I woke up, and this is usually when my big ideas hit. And I like how you referenced that the universe, God, and I believe that very much that the ideas and the inspiration that I have are from the relationship that I have with him. And one morning it was there. Instead of calling it marketing momentum, because that's what the book was going to be called, and about all these stories of how to grow your business and your life, it became Death of a Yellow Page Salesman. And I
Mm.
think, okay, that's big. That's a big change from marketing momentum. So I talked to my book coach and I said, what do you think of this? Because he knew that I'd gone through over 30 years in the Yellow Page industry. Google had come in and effectively killed and destroyed my entire career. And so I was stuck in the place that I was 60 and I still wasn't old enough to retire and draw my pension. But at the same point, I had to figure out something to do for the next 5 to 7 years. And so when I asked him, I said, what do you think of this name of Death of the Yellow Page Salesman? He goes, oh my gosh, that's genius. And I thought, okay, this was definitely of God. It was so cool. It wasn't by logic that it came. And a lot of times I think when we have a gift that's given to us like that, usually it's just like unfolded and it's just bam, here you go. And it's just so big. Have you noticed that to be true?
100%. And I have to say, I love the acronym of the word voice that you're using and the letters OIC as you were mentioning them. There's a fourth word that came to my mind and that just as powerful, and it's the word imagination. And when we think about the value ladder, imagination is at the top, right? And when you look at the people who have created magical things in their world and in their business, like Walt Disney, Steve Jobs, what was the leading factor of their massive success? It was their imagination, right? They imagined a world of their own and then they went on and created it. And imagination, giving ourselves to the permission to tap into our imagination and letting it run wild. And it's actually not wild. It's like you said, God driven, right? So when we let our imagination, or when we give ourselves permission to reconnect to that imagination or ideation, you wake up, like you said, in the morning with the most incredible moments, ideas, thought, creative things. And you're like, wow, that came from me. You just become
Mhm.
that channel of amazing beauty. And that's why I absolutely love the job that I do, the support that I provide people with, because I help them have that, receive that many morning, right? When you do that vision work, when you really vibrate at the state of what's called for you to create in your life through your heart, you have these magical moments seemingly out of nowhere, but it's not, right? You're just channeling that beautiful energy. But yes, I love how you describe it all.
Just last week, we had a situation where it got really cold here. It was like -5 degrees Fahrenheit. And I went out to start my car and it was completely dead. The battery, they actually said that they thought the battery was frozen. But it was like 4-year-old battery. And my car it has a lot of electronic equipment. So it needs a bigger battery. But so much of the time, right, I've actually taught this where there's some Greek words that are very great for power that are like the Greek words energemata. There's dunamis, which is the potential, the power, and then you have energized power. And whether you call it channeling or whether you call it the powers of God, a lot of times it's just semantics. But to me, I just always give the credit back to where I believe our source creator is. And so I just love it when I'm working with people. I imagine you do too, when there's just this aha idea that comes out of nowhere. And it's like the answer. It's just absolute. It's just, oh my gosh, this is just an amazing idea. So I actually trademarked the name Ideation Creation.
Yes.
And so if you look at that, I actually have that trademark that I own. And I think it's just a cool thing with our vision that we tap into our originality, our inspiration, our creativity that we embody, then not only can it help us, but it can help others as well. And so what would be like you'd like to offer somebody to get in touch with you, how they can go
Yes.
to
Yes, absolutely. I can provide my website. And I also have an invitation tomorrow night, which is Tuesday, the 17th of December. I have a 90-minute masterclass called Rise into Your Next Best Chapter, 3 Keys to Claiming and Building a Life You Love. And it's on Zoom, and I can post in the chat or underneath the video after you post it, the link to register. And I'm also going to do it on Saturday for those who cannot come on Tuesday night, but it's at 5:30 Pacific time and it's 90 minutes. And I will going through the tools that we just talked about today in much greater depth and provide actually actionable items and questions to work on during the workshop or the masterclass. So you can already either begin or continue to develop that vision. And so it would be my honor to have anybody watching this video attend the event, either this Tuesday or Saturday night. And otherwise, I can be found on Instagram, Facebook, and my website. It's all Val Mulan official. So my name on the screen and then the word official, all one word at the end. .com for the website, and then Val Mulan official, all one word on Instagram.
So is that right in the chat?
Yeah,
ValMulanOfficial.com. Okay.
that's
So you said Instagram and where else?
Facebook and my
Okay.
website.
And your website. Okay. That's awesome. And so I imagine, do you have a Facebook group or is that like a private thing for your clients or how does that work?
I do not have a Facebook group at the moment that is active. I have a small one, and I told you I hang out on Instagram. I'm an Instagram girl. I'm not a Facebook person quite yet, even though I cross post. So that's why I'm also visible on Facebook. But it's definitely in the works, and I want to choose a platform that I love. And I'm not sure Facebook group would be my platform. I'm looking at other couple of other options to have a close community where people can join and really
Hmm.
benefit from recording. They can also post, ask questions. So I'm definitely working on that, and I'll announce it when it's ready.
That's awesome. So it's been so wonderful to have Val Mulan on the podcast today. And I'll actually post this on skyrocket2success.com as well as in the Facebook group, which is publishspeakandprosper.com. And one thing that I'm really excited is to see how people can transform their businesses, their ideas into becoming best-selling authors. And so if that's something that you're interested in, not only you, Val, but other people that are watching, is come on over to the group to publishspeakandprosper.com. And we're actually working on a project right now that's pretty exciting. And for a fraction of the price of what it took me to become a best-selling author, we can do like a crowd source or crowdfunding where multiples of us, like 15 or so, can all go together. So that's the fun part of it. So Val, it's been fun being with you today. And why don't you hang off on afterwards and let's talk for a few minutes, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure.